Hello. I think at some point I would like to make an entire video on the tortured, overwrought similes of Alan Moore. I don't know if this is something that carries over into his other work. It's been a long time since I've read Watchmen or V for Vendetta. And in some ways, tortured, overwrought similes and metaphors are kind of a staple of Swamp Thing. You get a lot of that in the early issues. But I feel like Alan Moore sort of takes it to new heights. There's a bit here that I bookmarked. Fog slakes the fever of the bayous, drifting like cold music between the trees. Leaves are hanging like dead notes on the wind's invisible stave. You've just sort of got imagery piled and jumbled on top of each other. You got the fog slaking the fever of the bayou. You have the bayou as a fever, but then you also have the fog as music drifting like cold music between it doesn't really connect for me. Like, you can compare anything to anything with enough effort, and sometimes it just feels like that's what Alan Moore is doing. Just like, yeah, sure, fog is like music, and the leaves are like dead notes, and the wind is like a music stave. He also sort of reuses kind of the same exact simile from a few issues earlier. And this is kind of, I don't know, you could chalk this up to an editor. It could have been an editor's responsibility to maybe catch this. And maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe I'm just like nitpicking. But it says here, over the world a bird was flying, a ragged black note on the stave of the wind, too high for all but the rarest ears. Again, you've got sort of the same. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more effective the first time, but I don't think it was good enough to use twice, really. But there's sort of a lot of that throughout the book, and I don't mean to. I mean, I do mean to nitpick. I do like Alan Moore, but I think like the reputation that he's like the Charles Dickens of comics, it's, I don't know if it's necessarily apt all of the time. Again, I do like him. There's lots of stuff that does work, lots of, literary prosaic devices that are much more effective, but there's also a lot that just clutters stuff up and gets in the way. I feel like I don't want to, I don't know. Anyway, okay, moving on. What else did I like and did I not like about Volume 5? When I first started reading it, I wasn't sure I was going to have much to say about it. I read Volume 4. It was fine. Didn't have much to say. I thought this was going to go sort of the same way. I thought I was getting burned out by Swampland. But there's some stuff here that's worth mentioning. Okay, so the character of Dennis Barclay. Dennis Barclay appeared, when was it? The Volume 2 of the Bronze Age I was reading, I think, was the first appearance of Dennis Barclay. And reading this issue here where he returns sort of made me realize one of the problems of the previous issues was just a bloat of cast of characters who like aren't really that exciting or engaging or have any distinguishable personality. So Dennis Barclay, in every other previous appearance, was just sort of a mild-mannered doctor, kind of blank slate character who didn't really need to be there for any conceivable reason at a certain point. Like, it's more fluff and more clutter to, I don't know, it gets in the way. So his last appearance that Alan Moore writes him is Loose Ends, which is the first issue that Alan Moore does. I think this is Loose Ends. But let's see, I bookmarked it here. So Dennis Barclay, the mild-mannered doctor, runs away with Liz Wheeler, the intrepid reporter. And their whole thing is like, The only thing she says, the only thing we have in common, Dennis, is horror. You know, we don't really have any meaningful romantic connection, which I think is maybe some meta commentary on how, I don't know, flat and wooden these characters are. But anyway, they get into some other hot water, and his basic thing is like, well, if horror's the only thing that binds us, you know, that's good because luckily we're in fucking danger all the time. And there's kind of a hint that he's like kind of a dick here, you know. What's he say? Just so long as they never run out of horrors. She leans against him, scared, vulnerable, the way a woman should be. And Dennis Barclay runs, and Dennis Barclay smiles. So there's kind of a hint. You know, he's sort of been taken to this place where he's like not so much a mild-mannered, nice guy, blank slate nice guy. And there's a little bit of hint that he's a debauched maniac. But then fast forward to this is supposed to be 2 years later, and the character of Dennis Barclay returns, and he's a fucking caveman doomsday prepper or something. He's just a hulking caveman in like camo with a machine gun, and he's immediately killed off. And on the one hand, again, you don't realize, or at least I didn't, how bloated the cast of characters was and how much of it just didn't really matter. So on the one hand, it's not like there's any sort of meaningful character assassination going on here. There was really nothing to work with, and so Alan Moore just sort of went in this direction. And on the again, it's not like any big loss. On the other hand, it's sort of a, I don't know. It doesn't fit. It doesn't seem believable, or I don't know. It's a complete out of nowhere 180 character turn that you could maybe like blame on the stupid Final Crisis thing that came before, where all the universes were screwed with, and you could make that excuse. But I don't know. It just seems weird to have this character who, again, wasn't that interesting, but it had at least, you know, had a consistent, had been appearing consistently in the story, and then he just shows up as a machine gun wielding maniac and is immediately killed. I don't know. It's fine. And then you also have the character of Liz Wheeler. She shows up, and she's just sort of again, the character, there was really not much there in the first place. She's just sort of kind of another Lois Lane sort of derivative, kind of a sassy news reporter. But she shows up, and she's this broken, ruined woman who's scared to leave the house and can't do anything if Dennis doesn't say so. And again, wasn't really much to work with in the first place, I guess. But still, just it might as well be a different, entire different character, which kind of brings me to the character of Abby Arcane, who, reading all of Alan Moore's run, which, to its credit, makes some effort to give this character some definition. I still, like, after reading 5 volumes, do not know what this woman's personality is supposed to be. I'm not sure what she's supposed to be, except it's kind of a vaguely manic pixie dream girl type thing, maybe. Just kind of like vaguely eccentric in a whimsical way, but kind of I don't know, tortured or something vaguely. It's all very, again, this character, like, there wasn't really anything there in the first place, I don't think. She's the bad guy's niece, and that's about it. And it's still like, I still don't think it's gotten to the point where there's really been anything made of that. She's just a nice lady who Swamp Thing's love, even as she's going through things. Like, she's at one point she's like arrested for some decency law. She's been consorting with Swamp Thing, and it's on some Louisiana law about bestiality or whatever. And even as she's going through hardship, which is good and important for character building, you know, you get invested in a character by showing them going through strife and turmoil. But even as she's going through this, I don't like. I don't care as much because I just don't know what I'm supposed to get from this character other than Swamp Thing's girlfriend. This is Swamp Thing's girlfriend, and it just seems like she doesn't have too much going on outside of that. You know, she thinks she's dead. She thinks Swamp Thing's dead, and she's sad. She's also kind of like vaguely crazy. Like their entire relationship, it's cool and fun and interesting in the way that only Alan Moore could do it, but it's also just kind of, you kind of lose a bit of sympathy, I think, and just the I don't know. She's just sort of like vaguely crazy. I don't know. Anyway, what else? What else did I bookmark in here? Okay, so this Blue Planet story I liked it. I think you're getting sort of shades of Watchmen here. You've got sort of a blue guy on an alien planet creating alien constructs, creating doppelgangers of himself. I think you're getting sort of I don't know if this is like when he had Watchmen in his mind or was sort of already looking or was already working on it. You've got some more heavy-handed narration where it seems like the art should be doing all this work. He's doing all these describing the planet in great detail, but I don't know. I just going to this level of description it seems sort of superfluous in a visual medium. The art should be doing all that heavy lifting. Here's the last thing that I want to say is, while there's nothing wrong with any of this art, it's fine. I don't feel as compelled by the art as I was reading the earlier Bernie Wrightson issues. And I feel like Alan Moore is doing a lot of the heavy lifting with his writing. So then when that writing sort of shows its flaws, it sort of does more of a injury to the entire presentation. I don't know. I just don't find any of this art super captivating. I don't find it the whole like 1980s Vertigo aesthetic. Like, I think it only has so many miles on it before it starts to, I don't know. You want something more flashy. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with this. I don't know. Maybe I'm just bitching for no reason. Maybe I'm just nitpicking where I shouldn't be. I don't know. Anyway, Swamp Thing, Vol.5, almost done. And then, okay, goodbye.